fam, guys, Bitcoin, $91,000. I just got off of a plane. I'm exhausted, but we have a lot to speak about. We got Bitcoin now. We did lose this momentum trend that I spoke about for many weeks. Zooming out here, you can see there's one more major trend left. Okay, but the important thing here is we are coming into golden pocket, which is known as a 60% retracement from the previous wave. We do have RSI sitting at the bottom. And good news today is we do officially have the Bitcoin dominance starting to reject the trend line. Right, it does feel like it's taken forever, and we've just had a strong Bitcoin and a weak set of altcoins. But this is something for us to look forward to, as these dumps will bring huge opportunities. But we need to know that things are going to finally change, right? We're finally going to have, strong altcoins, and what we needed to believe that is for us to actually finally reject. And you can see that this Bitcoin dominance is now rejecting nice and strong. We have had a weekly break of trend to the downside, and we do have the RSI sitting at the top. So the important thing today is it feels like bear market, right? It really feels like bear market, but we need to look at the opportunities that are here. We need to go through what I'm currently doing within trading strategies. I've actually had a really good month. I want to explain that to you guys. But I do want us to look at where is altcoins right now? What are the best opportunities in the markets? And what is the new game plan, right? If we are going to sit here for a little while, the good thing is dominance is dropping. So we might have a weakish Bitcoin, but any bounces on Bitcoin will send altcoins nice and strong to the upside, right? So we need to understand that this will bring opportunity and this will bring fast growth to the upside. It's about how much cash we got left and what are we going to do that. Now, in this show, guys, I got many altcoins. A big opportunity for me is Sui and a bunch of different tokens I want to speak about. Solana's got one of the strongest bounces right now too, right? So it's nice to see that these altcoins, it's not just Zcash anymore and all the old coins that are pumping. We're starting to see a little bit of these tokens show some strength. I have a huge announcement for 𝗦𝗵𝗡𝗏 that I think all of you are going to appreciate highly. One of my biggest dreams ever has just come true. We've worked really hard on it, and I want to speak about something that I think is going to benefit every single one of you guys that are watching. So guys, I am back. I was at a conference, a influencer conference. I thought I was going to have time to do streams, but we ended up doing a lot of different things to improve ourselves, which is good. I always told you guys red times to improve yourselves, but now we're back in action. I'm back home. I missed my family. I'm in my brand new house, which is cool, with boxes everywhere, and we're unpacking everywhere. But I'm excited to be back. So guys, no more wasting time. I missed you all. Let's get our heads in the game. Where is my video? No wasting time. Let's go.
I try and help everyone in my space, and this is what I get. I try and fight the devils, but inside I'm just like 𝗦𝗵𝗡𝗏. Welcome to Sheldon Show.
𝗦𝗵𝗡𝗏 fam, first question I have for you. Who's got a job for me? Anyone got a job? Anyone got a job? Let me know. I got a okay CV. I'll send it through. Just pop an email in the description or in the comments below. I'll send through my CV. Let me know. I can flip burgers. I can do anything, right? So just let me know. I'm a good golf caddy. I can do that. Just let me know. I missed you guys very much. Yes, I'm going to come with a lot of energy today. You know, it's important to rise the energy when everything is dropping down. And I am just seeing capitulation everywhere, right? We've seen big wallets drop and release their Bitcoin that they've had since 2009. Right, there's a couple of whales selling off. So this is really getting people to the point of bull market's over. Right. And you know what? To be honest, looking at the charts, like it's a strong statement to look at that and say, okay, maybe it is. Right. But for me, when you see this redness and you see everything happening, we got to look for opportunity and we got to look at, hey, where is max pain right now? That's the first question. Right. And it's quite clear. One big thing here that I want to show you guys through the dump. You can see that liquidations where they're sitting right now. Right. Look how much yellow is now sitting to the upside. Right, which means that the longs, we already knew that when that big wick happened a couple of weeks ago, right, we knew that it wasn't going to take too fast to recover. Okay, and we also knew we could come down and fill a lot of that liquidity. That wick did the damage. We may be sitting here and saying that this seems a bit tough. All you're seeing is something that I did speak about a week or 3 weeks ago, was maybe there's a Bitcoin catch-up and an ETH catch-up, right? Because Bitcoin and ETH held pretty good in the dump, but altcoins didn't. Okay, and we did speak the scenario of, Bitcoin and ETH wanting to catch up. And if you go through a lot of the charts, you'll see a lot of the altcoins have not gone lower than what that wick went, right? Yet Bitcoin has gone lower, and I think ETH's on the verge of going lower too. I think ETH did go lower. ETH's wick was at 3.3, and now ETH did break 3,000 to the downside. So now what you're starting to see is altcoins were already oversold 4 weeks, 6 weeks back on the 10th, right? 10th of October. Now what we have is Bitcoin getting to an oversold level. I want to speak about the levels. I do think there's an 85 discussion here and into the 80s. And I do think there's a 227 on ETH as well. This is a possibility. We'll speak about it this week. But nonetheless, that is when you're going to see altcoins oversold, Bitcoin oversold, ETH oversold, which means we have to be prepared for a bounce at any point, right? We got to speak about, yes, it's continuing and there's a lot of depression in the markets, but we also know that when you see a bunch of liquidity sitting this high up over here, right, it also shows you that the bounce and the recovery will be pretty quick. And as I go through a lot of the altcoins right now, specifically on daily time frames, I'm seeing a lot of descending wedges, and I'm seeing us very close to the wedges. So it's just telling me again that as this Bitcoin dominance is dropping, we mustn't be surprised if these alts do start recovering nice and quickly. Okay, which means there's opportunity. That doesn't mean now long-term bags go straight into profits. No, this might take a little bit of time for them to get up. But does that mean there's a lot of opportunities to make cash back now and to take advantage of the specials that are there? Yes, I do believe there's a lot. And that's why, again, for me, right now trading is this high on my priority and investing is just being patient, right? I have conviction. I know where we're going in the future, right? We have been here many times before. Okay, but we've never had a Bitcoin this high before and a dominance this high losing trend, right? So again, at any point, a lot of money can be diversified, but sentiment in the market is capitulation everywhere. And I don't want you to forget that capitulation happened in the COVID crash. It happened before Trump came in, right? When the banks were collapsing and all these different things were happening, when there's been war before, right? We have seen capitulation and we have seen very strong bounces and recoveries from these zones. So we still have to have this mentality that we need to kind of swim upstream, yet everyone is kind of going downstream right now, right? And it's going to be hard and it's a lot more friction. Okay, but that's the stream and the area that we're wanting to be going. Okay, so let's go through a couple. Yes, buying opportunities, just incredible buying opportunities, specific for the long term, right? If you got any more cash, I don't have much more cash. I have trading cash, but I don't have much more investing cash right now in the markets. I'm just holding nice and strong, buying where I can, but I'm going to use my skills to make things back. So the first thing that I want to announce to you guys today to start the stream off nice and strong before we jump into the charts and go through the next plays. You guys know this thing that I created, which was 𝗦𝗔𝗔. It was actually me and Dylan that created it, and Dylan was a big part of the creation of Club. Okay, and what this was a place for us to form a community and to be into contact with each other, to have a bunch of traders around us and a bunch of coaches around us, and to have that support. So when markets were dropping, you had a place to go, right? You had a place to be, because again, if you look at the sentiment everywhere right now, it's terrible. Okay, so how do you stay positive? The way you stay positive is you be in a community that is positive, right? It's a community that has been through wars together, because we must not forget that anyone that was in 2016, 2017 in crypto, even before that, they had to go through the bear market, right, of 2018, 2019. Anyone that was in the 21 had to go through this bear market. So those who have managed to survive years and years and years within crypto, they had to go through a lot of these times, if not worse, right? We had to go from a 69K Bitcoin to a $15,000 Bitcoin, right? And that happened over like 12 months, long period. Okay, nonetheless, these guys have managed to overcome and survive. Right, I went to a conference now, and a lot of the guys are from early days within crypto, and they are here, right? And the funny thing is, a lot of people, yeah, but crypto was cheap, then you can make a lot of money. No, they all sold. When they bought Bitcoin at $100, they sold it at 160. They never held the Bitcoin, right? They held maybe one or two little bits, but they never. So and if you look at these guys, they've overcome. So the whole important thing here is, if you want to do success and you want to achieve success, right, you got to be around success. You got to be around those who have gotten through these times and that are there. And that's what 𝗦𝗔𝗔𝗔 was built to do, right, to do that. And I can officially say that there is up to 1,000 people in Club right now, right? The OGs is what we call them. And the people in there are just incredible. It's such a safe place when things are happening like this, that you can stay focused and you can keep growing, right? And that was always the dream. One thing that I didn't like, right? And again, not the, things evolve, but we kind of went into a little bit of a paid route, right? The business went in, we got to bring it a couple of paid. Remember, we've had a free company here with 𝗵𝗵𝗘𝗏 for a long time. Everything free. Okay, but at some point it becomes not fully sustainable when markets are dry and things are not really happening. Okay, so we kind of went to, okay, let's have a free, a bit of a paid model that allows us to build a team and build us to do these type of things. I was never a massive fan of that. Okay, but we went on with it and we done it. Now, ever since, specifically from the beginning of this year, the thought of being free again has been driving me. I ain't here for your money. I really ain't. I'm here to build my own, right? I'm here to do my own thing. And that's one thing you'll always realize about me. Money don't fuel me ever, right? I wanted this community to be available to all. Now, in this time of us having club a year and a half years old, we managed to build this thing into a powerhouse of some of the most incredible educators. The tools we have in there, the system, the community we have in there is out of this world. But now it is time to bring it to all of you. 𝗧𝗏𝗏𝗧𝗏 Club is officially free to all of you from today, right? We are going to be releasing little batches. We're testing. We've moved to a new system, okay? But in this market where it's tanking like this, and you know what? It's Black Friday. You're probably going to see specials everywhere. Come join my group. Specials. There ain't no better special than going free, right? The same club, the same powerhouse, even better than ever before. You all can now get access to 𝗧𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗧𝗏 Club for free. You can all join a community. This is live tradings that are happening all the time. These are groups that are pumping. There's sections for investing, for leverage trading, for bots, for indicators, for this, for that. There is tons of things everywhere. And this makes me the happiest person in the world. It's all I've ever wanted. I did school for free. I've done 1,000, 200, 1,300 videos on YouTube for free, right? Because I'm here to just share my journey. Crypto changed my life. So like, I'm here to give back and do these things. And charging was just something that didn't sit well with me. We managed to get it right. I want to give a big shout out to Craig, to the 𝗧𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 Club team for all the hard work that they've done. We've worked many weeks and months to rebuild Club. We are going to a new platform called Circle, okay, which is a great part. Hey, my angel. Great part of putting all this information together, okay, and you are going to see many different levels within Club. So this is now a time for us to take a red market and things that are tough, right, and let's come together. Let's jump into this community together. So how do we join it? Okay, guys, you gotta remember there's paid groups everywhere, even within 𝗵𝗵𝗏𝗏𝗏. We're the only guys, the only ones that have gone free. So the way this is gonna work is we have the original OG people that have paid for many months to be inside a club, right? They are already in the club now, starting to go. And the way Club is going to work is going to have different tiers. You're going to have a bronze tier, silver tier, and we'll explain all the certain things. But these guys will be OGs. You'll see OGs next to their name. These guys, when you see them in the chats and stuff, they have been up to a year, 2 years in this thing. They are strong, they are incredible, and they are motivators, right? You're not just joining an amateur club here. You're joining a club that has been through war and have grown together, right? So what you do now is they're already in the club. Then here, the link below in the description. Okay, so let's jump in here. 𝗧𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 Club, this one over here. I think it's this one, Maddie. Confirm. Yes, this one over here. Click on it. It's going to take you to the site. Okay, and you're going to click on this over here. You're going to put in your name and your email address, and we are going to send you through. You're going to be put on a waiting list, and we're going to be releasing people through the system. We're just testing. It's a brand new system, but throughout the next a couple of days, so the next 10 days, we want to have everyone coming through. The way you get in, the only way you get through is the same as school. It's the only way that we can fund and do things is you need to have a 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 account. So link below in the description with my show link, a 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 account, and you have to have something deposited. Okay, this is your trading money. It's your journey. You need cash to trade anyway, right? So it's nothing when it comes to charging or anything like that. But that is the first way for you to get in. Here, you put in your name, you put in this, have a 𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏𝗏 account. We'll verify you, and you join our damn community. How cool, guys? How incredible. right? Let's turn something that's a very hard event right now, and let's turn it into something incredible. Come join the family and come fight with us. Where will Bitcoin go? We'll figure it out together. But one thing I can guarantee you is this is not the community. You know, I look at the shows and we've built a big community over time. This community is different, right? The show community, we've had a lot of loyal, and I love you guys to bits. But in this club here, right, you don't have negativity. You don't have people complaining. You don't have people upset. You don't have this. You have a bunch of motivated warriors that get through all of this. And that's what we need. We need quality, right? And we need strength around us right now so we can fight through this and we can have clarity and turn this into the best opportunities. I want us to all look at these dumps that are happening and these pullbacks. And I want us to be in 5 years sitting back and saying, that was the moment that changed my whole life. We needed that dump to get where we needed to get. But in order to do that, you need a crew. You need a squad. Right? I've seen it before. I walk into a bar, I'm quiet. I walk into a bar with my best buddies that I know have my back. I can come with a vibe. We are those buddies. We are that family. And again, thank you for the entire Sniper Club team and everyone involved. I'm proud of you guys and thank you for achieving the dream. Good day. Okay, let's jump into the action. Okay, guys, so let's go through Bitcoin quickly. I'm focusing purely on weekly charts, specifically in the show, and then I'll zoom in on a couple good opportunities and trades that I'm seeing. Okay, but let's speak about Bitcoin. So the big problem that we've seen two kind of accelerated drops within Bitcoin. The first one came over here when that crash happened. 2-3 weeks later, we ended up losing the trend, right? And then we went down to the next trend. I spoke to you guys around this trend, an important one that we must hold. We've now lost that, right? So now the important thing is, where's the next trend? And the next trend is the official, the one at the bottom, right? This last trend over here, just giving us a good indication of where is support sitting, right? Because now the question comes into play, where is Bitcoin going to bounce? Right, that is the question. So what we do is we then look at where are the major supports. The next thing as well is to know that when something is in an uptrend, okay, because yes, everyone can be talking bear market, we got to still be looking and saying, hey, there's still possibly a bull market here, right? How does that kind of work? We need to still see a higher low within Bitcoin. That's the important thing. Okay, so when you see a push to the upside, anything that drops up to 60% is still healthy, 60 to 70%, and it's known as a golden pocket zone. So here we pushed up, many people turn bearish here, and we end up reversing to the upside. But the main thing within Bitcoin is for us to kind of continue this higher low type of view. And the last low is all the way down in the $70,000 zones. Okay, so now what you could see is this has been the last couple of months. This has been the last couple of weeks. Okay, and now we're known as this big, we're entering the golden zone. This is where we should see reaction. Now, where we would think that we won't see a reaction here is if we didn't have an oversold market. So for example, if the RSI was still kind of sitting, it's coming down, sitting in the middle, and we hear, that's a little bit of a concern, right? That's like, there's still more selling pressure to come, right? We have not exhausted, because remember, before we had the bearishness come into the market, we had a very exhausted buying base, right? From going from 70,000 up to 120,000, right? That's a lot of buying. And then at some point they get tired, okay? And the bears kind of step in. Now we've seen weeks and weeks and weeks of bears kind of ruling the market or ruling the trends, right? They start to get exhausted too, okay? Why? Because you got to remember, when the markets are bull, probably 80% of the market are long, right? There's leverage everywhere. There's liquidity. That's also, so everyone's kind of going one way, okay? That's why when a real pullback happens, and this is officially a real pullback, right? That one that takes a little bit more time, what you end up happening now is all those longs start getting wiped. The first scenario was the wick on altcoins that wiped all the altcoin longs out of the market. There's no doubt about it. Anything that I had near on leverage got wiped hard on that big wick that came 6 weeks ago or 5-6 weeks ago, right? So altcoins got wiped. The next two coins that needed to get wiped, okay, was Bitcoin and ETH. And as you just go through a lot of the information, you will see that longs have been wiped and wiped and wiped and wiped and wiped. Then you get to a certain point where there just ain't much longs left. So I want to speak about this for a second. We saw Bitcoin drop. We saw altcoins drop yesterday, right? Not as big as pre, but Bitcoin has, this is one of the bigger drops we've seen of Bitcoin in a while. I only saw something like $200 or $300 million in liquidations. That's it, right? That big wick was billions of alts. And that painted a picture to me. That said, okay, we're still dropping, but there ain't much longs left in the market. Like people are like, leverage is gone when it comes to the longs, right? And that's why bringing up this chart again over here, which is where is now the liquidity sitting? They're all sitting in the shorts right now. So now you're sitting with billions and billions and billions of dollars that are all shorting the market, okay? Which means that when the bottom comes into play and it's drop, now sitting a bit flat, when we tend to recover, there will be a strong bounce that's going to come. Okay, and we need to take advantage of that bounce because that bounce is now going to go for max pain. Max pain is officially now sitting at the top. The best thing for this market to do damage, because remember, the market is here, market maker, all these, they're all here to make money. Where they're going to make money now, at any point now, is to send price up, right? So again, these drops are thing, but just know that they are exhausting the base of longs. Now we're getting to the point now of shorts is where the market wants to go. So it means we do still have to have this mentality of getting ready for a bounce. So the first thing that's important here is we do still have a possibility of 85 to 86,000. That is the trend line. That is the 786 Fibonacci. I don't want to get too technical on that. Nonetheless, it's the bottom of the golden zone. This is known as the golden pocket, specifically if we are still bullish. And I'm still a believer that we are bullish, right? I believe it's going to take a little bit longer now. We'll be surprised on alts. We'll see how quickly alts recover. But yes, I'm still very much bullish, right? So we could still in this week see this play here. But one thing that I am very much getting ready for is the reversal, is the bounce, right? Now, again, the first bounce that's going to come is going to probably be quite aggressive to the upside, and it's probably going to be fake, right? Then there's going to be a small rejection, and then a real bounce will come into a real breakout will start to happen, okay? But this fake bounce could easily be 30, 40, 50% up from where we are now, specifically within alts. So it gives us a good opportunity, right? And something that like that looks like this. It looks like here, 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 here. Now that's what kind of a recovery looks like. First one is a little bit fake, kind of traps. There's opportunity here for us, okay? But that's something that this is kind of the play that I'm looking at now to play. Now, this could be the low that we hit, 89, but I do need to be aware here that we can go to 85 this week, okay? But I am getting ready for a pin bar. I am getting ready for a reversal, okay? And I am getting ready for Bitcoin to go back up. It looks like the resistance on Bitcoin right now, where we're going to struggle to get through, is that 103 and 104,000. So once we're ready now, I'm expecting us to go there. I do expect us to have a strong set of altcoins when that happens, right? It's quite clear now that this is a real breakout that we're seeing here on the dominance to the downside. Okay, this is also sitting at the top, which means that when we tend to see markets go up, we could easily see altcoins be strong all the way until January, right? So I do think we're going to have a strong reset. Remember how it works with recoveries. It's going to start off slow and then speed up, right? So the altcoins now, this is setting us up for a nice, strong recovery when it comes to alts, right? So this is what I'm paying attention to over here, is a first fake bounce push, but we got to get ready for some longs and to take advantage of these opportunities, right? I also think, and I've told you guys many times, that I was not at this point of investing too much in Bitcoin. I've always thought, specifically when Bitcoin went above 100, that it was too expensive to invest, just for the timing, right, of where we've been. I do think Bitcoin is now getting to a play of investing, right? Loading up a bit more Bitcoin at these levels. And if it comes down to the 80,000s, I do think it's a good area for more conservative and long-term money, safer money. You don't want to lose too much to the downside. I think Bitcoin's getting to that area there too. And so do I think ETH, right? I think ETH is definitely getting there too. ETH's looking a lot stronger than Bitcoin though, right? ETH is only mid-range, RSI at the bottom. So there's nothing stopping this over the next few weeks, right? We still never saw an alt season. So don't be surprised if it does come from this. Just don't be surprised. Okay, let's jump in over here and go through a couple. Let's go through altcoins quick. Okay, so altcoins, I'm going to zoom out a little bit and then I'm going to zoom in. Okay, so just remember on alts, I don't know, it seems like death out there and stuff like that. Just remember we are not bear market yet. We're actually still bull, right? Not only that, you know, we are only now in the mid-range of this leg over here. So this is a good opportunity to buy some long-term good fundamental alts, as well as RSI is reaching the bottom. Okay, now let's zoom in a little bit more and go look at the opportunities we are aligned with today, right? So Let's go in here. This is the total 3 altcoins. Okay, the goal here is not to rush in too quickly with trades, okay, but is to make sure that you are ready for when the breakout happens. I told you guys the bounce is going to be strong and aggressive. Okay, something like this. We're here, boom, boom, boom. Right, at any point, we just go. We go nice and aggressive to the upside. But the signs here that we need to see are 2 important trends. So if you look at where we are right now with alts, we are making a descending wedge, which means it feels bearish out there, but this is bullish, right? We've always seen that before things pump, right, we see descending wedges. So just to show you guys over here, before altcoins made this rally over here, there was a descending wedge, right? Before it went up over here too, same thing, descending wedge. So this is when it feels bearish, but it's actually printing a bullish pattern. So if we go in over here, descending wedge. And you can see we ain't too far from the trend line. Now, that doesn't mean that Bitcoin's low in and we can't keep going lower, but just keep these trends in play. This is what's going to give you an early insight of when we are going to see that fast bounce at any point. It's also not going to get you to go in too quickly. Okay, I actually had a look. I was on the airplane. It was one of the craziest things. Look how I caught Solana bottom. Like here. Where's my buy? 128.9. Let's zoom out here. The absolute bottom. This red line is my stop loss. Right? Crazy. Look at that. Okay, so I started laddering in a little bit. So I'll explain that now shortly on Sol. I do think Sol's strong. Okay, but keep this in mind. So this thing's still telling us, okay, Bitcoin wants to sit and go a little bit lower over 2-3 days. But when that happens, guys, big pop incoming. Okay, which means a lot of your altcoins are looking like this right now. And just remember that they are not below this wick that we saw. When this drop happened, okay, there was not enough time for accumulation to happen. It was there to wipe out every single leverage in alts. And I still, to this day, believe that there was a reason for that. Wipe out retail, right? Completely flush the altcoin market, get many to quit, okay? Makes it very easy for smart money to accumulate, but they couldn't accumulate on a wick. So the more price comes down now, this is where buying accumulation happens. This is why this period can take long, right? But when we're done with the period, right, same thing when we're in the bear market in Bitcoin, just go back here, right? This period took forever. Okay, look what it resulted in, right? Strong rally to the upside. So going back here now, where were we now? So total 3 here is I honestly believe that this is where accumulation is happening, this whole area here. And I think there's a reason for that wick. And I think that smart money has been buying a lot of this. Let's go down to opportunities. There's a couple of opportunities on Solana. Sol has now hit this big support zone over here. There is a little bit more support sitting down lower. What I think is going to happen, right, is we draw in the trends. Just want to show you guys the trends. So I think there's a nice little short-term bounce incoming. Okay, I do think we are pretty near the Solana lows. But I think from here, we're going to push up to 160, then something like this, and then get going. Right, so a lot of these opportunities here for some spot buys with some stops below over here, looking nice and strong. As I'm going through the list here, and you just look at all of them, just look at this, guys. Here's Cardano. Right, remember, long term, we have to wait for everything to recover to higher levels. But to make money, right, with whatever's left, again, I told you, my one rule is don't go to zero. Right? I don't care if you got $10 left from $1 million. Like, I don't care. Go with $10. Go. Go $5. Go. Wouldn't it be one thing that I've always realized about hard times? I always say, okay, think of yourself at 90 years old right now. Wouldn't it be cool if you recovered from that? Like, wouldn't it be a cool story? Right? Because I always think about living my life that my kids and grandkids can talk about dad and grandpa, right? And the cool stuff that he did. And it's like, Grandpa went down from $200K to $10 and he then became a billionaire, right? That's a cool story, right? So that's how I live my life and how I keep things focused. But here, look at the descending wedge. Look that we are day to 2 to 3 days away from Cardano breaking this trend. There's opportunity. So a lot of the alts as you go through, and you'll see them, some are closer to the trends, some are a little bit further. The ones that are closer are a little bit more urgency. It's not saying that it's right now, but it's telling you that at any point, we're not far from the trends, guys. Dominance has broken down. Right? Keep this in mind, right? Dogecoin, Put all these trends. Then the next thing is to give you an idea of where they're going to bounce to first, right? Is go take the original trends, okay? So this was the top trend. This is what we were currently a few weeks back. That was the momentum. Then we increased it to the downside. So when we break here, we're going here. When we break here, then we're going to recover. So it gives you a good idea that when Doge wants to bounce now, it's going to bounce to here. And once it gets through here, that's when it's really going to start moving. But like I told you guys, fake bounce, something like that, right? But as you just go through them, one opportunity that I think is really an opportunity is 𝗬𝗏. Okay, put this trending, guys, on the daily, this recent move here. There's money to be made on 𝗬𝗏, right? Good opportunity to be in play. Guys, it is Black Friday time, okay? And I do want to bring you guys some, for me, this is the time now, specifically if you made the decision today, you're not going to quit and you are going to be here for the next couple of years and you are going to kill it in this industry, right? Here is a credible. I told you guys about Bitfunded, right? The funded accounts. We have an incredible promo today that you can only get with me, right? You get, if you pay for 3 accounts, you get 6 accounts. You got 6 days to do it. The way I thought of this, okay, is I'm not just buying for right now, I'm buying for the future. So if I can buy 3 now, and again, it's $50 for the smaller ones, and it can be more. You choose whatever package size suits with you, but you give yourself, these things don't expire. Okay, so if you go below in the description, you should find it here. Okay, you will find the Bitfunded. Here we go. You click on here, you buy them, you accumulate them, you have 6 Bitfunded accounts for the future. Whenever you want to use them, you can use them, right? So this is a huge opportunity today, okay, if you are here not to quit. Remember what I told you about this? This gives you a lot more liquidity. Now, you know what's cool? The brand new Sniper Club you're about to join, right, has a Bitfunded section on how to pass challenges and trades to pass challenges and to go, right? So again, the moment you make the shift in your brain and you use these things to your advantage and your opportunity, right, that there is a place now. And this is what's cool about the new club. I'm very pumped, very excited. So here's an opportunity, 50% off. Okay, you click on here, you can any 3 of them, okay, and you get 3 for free. Okay, that is there. And you know why for me that's important? Is pass the challenge here, have the money here. Make it quicker back, right? If $50 can unlock me $5,000 that I can 5x, which is $25,000 of buying power, you will see opportunity. I told you guys, in the red, if you can be positive and ignore, you will see opportunity. Here's Chainlink. Everything is close by. Now, a couple of coins I want to speak about today as well is ACE is looking good. So it's still just reminding to me that DEXs are strong. So I would keep an eye out on buying some DEXs for the long term, right, on this dip off. So this is one token that is looking really strong. I see Aptos is also looking nice and strong. Keep an eye on it. This one is actually getting ready to possibly breaking trends now. So this is something, if you're looking for some trades today, a token to pay attention to. Let's go through many more. Okay, guys, I'm back. We're going to go through alts for the rest of the week. Lots of trades. Remember to go to the new channel. Here's the new channel, Sniper Trading. Okay, I dropped an incredible trend line video that I really think is going to be great. You know, all the trends that I use, I've explained it to you, an easy strategy to help you guys with trend lines and to get you guys into play. Join here, as this is where the live tradings are going to happen. This is where I'm moving to very shortly. Guys, pick the heads up. I'm here. Join club. If I can give you 2 things today, right? Join club and anything that you can buy for Black Friday that can set you up for the next 6 months for your success, I would focus on that this week, right? Very much. I'll join a community. I'll get that into play. I'll get any tools that you need. Like I just bought a trading view that I have for the next year because that's nice and cheap right now. Any tools that you can accumulate it on, amazing. Join the club, get your head nice and strong, and we kill it from there. Guys, have a great day. I will chat to you. See you guys tomorrow. It'll be earlier tomorrow. I won't be as late. Have a great day. Bye-bye.